The GTA condo townhouse market just posted its third consecutive year of price decline. Inventory hit 5 months of supply. The sale to new listing ratio dropped into buyer territory. And the average price, the number everyone always asks about, I'll get that to the end of this video because the data leading up to it matters more than the number itself. If you own a condo townhouse in the GTA and think about your next move, this is the data you need to see. If you're thinking about buying one, the math has shifted in your favor for the first time in 3 years. So let me start with the 10-year picture because this tells you everything about where we are. In 2016, the average condo townhouse in the GTA was about $470,000. Over the next 6 years, that number climbed steadily. $563,000 in 2017, $571,000 in 2018, and $595,000 in 2019. Then $653,000 in 2020. In 2021, the market went off, averaged $770,000. And in the peak of 2022, that was $869,000. So since then, it has been a steady decline. $828,000 in 2023, $803,000 in 2024, $758,000 in 2025. That is 3 consecutive years of price drops. The total damage from the peak is about $110,000. That's about 13% of the peak value gone. Now, here's the part that matters most for move-up buyers. If you bought a condo townhouse in 2021 or 2022, your equity has already taken a hit. If you bought at $869,000 in 2022 and your unit is only worth $760,000 today, that's about $109,000 in paper losses. That changes your down payment math for your next home. But if you bought before 2020, you're still in positive territory. A 2019 buyer at $595 is still up over $160,000 from their purchase price. Even after a correction, a 2017 buyer at $563,000 is up almost $200,000. That window to move up is still open for long-term owners. The question is, how long does it stay open? Look at the shape of this chart. Slow, steady climb from 2016 to 2020, then a massive spike in 2021 and 2022 when rates were near zero and everyone was buying. Then the correction started the moment rates went up. 2023, 2024, 2025, all down. The prices we see today are roughly where we were in late 2020 or early 2021. 5 years of gains, and we have given back about half of them. The big question is whether 2026 stabilizes or whether we have another leg down. With rates coming down slowly and inventory still building, I do not see a price recovery this year. I think we're looking at a flat to slightly declined market for the rest of 2026. That's not a prediction. That is what the trend line and the inventory data are telling us right now. Now, let me look at 2026 specifically. Year over year, condo townhouse prices dropped about 6% in the GTA. On a unit that sold for, let's say, $750,000 last spring, that is about $50,000 less at sale today. That's not a soft landing. That's a correction that's accelerating. So this is not a 1-month dip. The Toronto condo townhouse market has now posted 8 consecutive months of year-over-year price decline. The trend line has been pointing down since mid-2025 with no signs of reversal. Each month comes in lower than the same month a year ago. This means pricing to current comps, not last year comps. If you're listing your condo townhouse at what your neighbors sold for last spring, you're overpricing it by about 6% right out of the gates. The gap is the difference between selling in 2 weeks and sitting for 45 days with more price reductions. So for buyers, this is the most affordable condo townhouse market since early 2021. If you've been waiting for prices to come down, they came down. The question is whether you act now or you wait for more. I'll show you the actual number at the end and let you decide. Let me show you why prices are falling. It comes down to supply and demand. And right now, the numbers are not close. In April 2026, 419 condo townhouses sold across the GTA. That's essentially a flat year over year, so it's up about 0.7%. Sales are not collapsing, but they are not growing. Meanwhile, 1,300 new listings hit the market, and there are about 2,000 active listings sitting right now. That gives us about 5 months of inventory. Divide active listings by monthly sales, and that is the number you get. So what does 5 months of inventory mean? In real estate, under 4 months is a seller's market. Between 4 and 6 is a balanced market. Over 6, buyer's market. At 5.0, we're in buyer market territory. Sellers have to compete for a smaller pool of active buyers. The sale to new listing ratio confirms this. In April, 419 sales against 1,300 new listings gives you a 30% SNLR. So anything under 40% is a buyer's market by TRREBs. So at 30%, buyers have options. They can take their time. They can negotiate. They can walk away and come back to a better deal next month. For sellers, this is the hardest part to accept. Your condo townhouse is competing against 4 or 5 other similar listings in your neighborhood right now. The only way to stand out is price. Let me put it another way. If you list your condo townhouse today at $725,000, there are 4 other units in your complex listed from $699 to $739. The buyer has 5 options. They're going to tour all 5. They're going to compare. They're going to make an offer on the one that gives them the best value. If yours is the most expensive and does not stand out on conditions or upgrades, you're the one sitting at day 45 wondering what happened. And this is why I keep on telling sellers, price to the last 3 comparable sales, not to what you paid, not to what you need for your next home, to what actually sold in the last 60 days in your building or block. If you're finding this useful, take a second to subscribe. I'm just shy of 1,400 subs. I need your help to get there so I can keep on making videos just like this. So let me pull the full market picture together. GTA-wide condo townhouses are selling at 99% of list price. That means sellers are getting what they asked for, but they are not getting above asking. The days of multiple offers pushing condo townhouse prices 5 to 10% over list price, gone. If you price correctly, you sell at your price. If you overprice, you sit. Days on market sit at about 31 days GTA-wide, so 30 days in Toronto. A year ago, this was closer to 25 days. So properties are taking longer to sell. That extra week on the market costs you carrying costs and negotiating leverage. This SNLR at 30% GTA-wide and 31% in Toronto both confirm what the inventory numbers already told you. This is a buyer's market, not a crash, not a panic, but a clear, measurable shift in negotiating power from sellers to buyers. Here's what that means in practice. If you're a buyer looking for a condo townhouse right now, you can include conditions. Financing condition, inspection condition. You ask for a longer closing date to coordinate your sale. A year ago, sellers will not look at conditional offers. Right now, they have to. If you're a seller, the move is to price at or slightly below the last comparable sale. Stage well and be flexible on conditions. Fighting the market costs you more than $10,000 to $15,000 in price adjustments. Now, let me break down Toronto by region because not all condo townhouses are created equal. Toronto West averaged about 700,000 with 48 sales in April. This includes areas like Mimico, Long Branch, South Etobicoke, entry-level condo townhouses territory for the West End. Toronto Central averaged about 850,000 with 58 sales. This is the premium zone. Liberty Village, King West, Leslieville adjacent. Central commands a $150,000 premium over the West and $180,000 over the East. Toronto East averaged about 670,000 or 36 sales, the lowest entry point in the city. Scarborough, clearly Birchmount, Wexford. You're looking for the most affordable condo townhouses inside Toronto? This is where the math works. The spread between Central and East is about 180,000. That is the same condo townhouse structure, same square footage, same parking, same 2 or 3 bedroom. Difference is location. For a move-up buyer who works from home 2 or 3 days a week, the East End is worth considering. 180,000 buys a lot of commute flexibility. Now here's the broader GTA picture. Outside Toronto, prices drop further. We're talking about Peel region, the average about 679,000. And that includes Brampton at 595,000, Mississauga at 710,000. Durham region is at 595,000. It's the city's most affordable place to buy a condo townhouse. York region is the outlier at 987,000. That's driven by Markham and Richmond Hill, where condo townhouses tend to be larger, near built with higher end efficient. The price spread across the GTA is 392,000 from Durham's $595,000 to York's $987,000. All these are the same property type, similar condo townhouse structure. The difference is location, build quality, and age. So you're flexible on location and your priority is getting into a townhouse at the lowest cost. Durham and East Toronto are where the numbers work. If you want nearer builds and do not mind paying like a premium, York region is where the inventory is. So let me give you the number everyone wants to know. Average condo townhouse in the GTA is $704,000. In Toronto, not the GTA, just in downtown Toronto, it is about $755,000. So that GTA number peaked at $869,000 in 2022. We are now $110,000 below that peak. 3 years of decline, 12% off the top. So if you're a condo townhouse owner thinking about selling and moving up to a semi or detached home, here's the key number. Detached homes in the GTA average about 1.3 mil. That was in April. That is almost a $700,000 gap between your condo townhouse, the value that is, and the average detached. In 2022, the gap was about $676,000. So the gap has barely changed. What changed is your equity position. So if you bought in 2019 or earlier, you still have lots of equity. The move-up window is open. If you bought in 2021 or 2022 near the peak, you're underwater or close to it. The math for moving up does not work until prices recover or you bring more cash to the table. So for buyers looking at condo townhouses as their entry into the market, $670,000 median price is very accessible on a $200,000 combined income. You're looking at about 20% down at $135,000, $540,000 on a mortgage, and roughly payments around $3,400, including taxes and condo fees. So that's not bad. It's doable. But here's my bottom line for each group. If you own a condo townhouse and you're thinking about selling to move up, check your equity. If you bought before 2020, you should have enough room. The gap between your condo townhouse and a detached home has stayed roughly constant, which means your purchasing power has not changed much. But your equity is shrinking every quarter. This correction continues. Moving sooner preserves more of it. If you're looking to buy a condo townhouse, this is the best pricing environment since early 2021. 5 months of inventory means you have negotiating power. Take your time. Include conditions. Do not overpay because someone tells you the market is about to turn. The data says otherwise. 5 months of inventory, 3 years of price decline, 30% SNLR. Every metric points the same direction.